First contact gone wrong. The stars held no warmth for Commander Zethus Krall as he stood on the command deck of the Vorthon dreadnought Crimson Fang. His forearms moved with practiced efficiency across the control surfaces, each appendage managing different aspects of fleet coordination. The bioluminescent patches along his elongated skull pulsed with the deep purple that indicated satisfaction among his species. Today would mark another victory for the Vorthon collective. Behind him, the bridge hummed with activity as his crew prepared for what they assumed would be a routine conquest. 67 worlds had fallen to their expanding empire over the past century, each victory adding to the collective's power and resources. The Vorthons had perfected the art of subjugation, crushing resistance before it could properly form and enslaving the survivors to fuel their war machine. The target system, designated as Kepler 442, contained 3 habitable worlds, rich in the rare minerals that powered Vorthon technology. Intelligence reports suggested the system was inhabited by a previously unknown species that had only recently achieved faster-than-light travel. Such primitive civilizations typically surrendered after witnessing a single demonstration of Vorthon firepower. Zethus studied the tactical display showing his battle group's formation. 43 heavy cruisers and 200 escort vessels moved in perfect synchronization through hyperspace, their quantum drives leaving ripples in the fabric of space-time. Each ship represented decades of military engineering, armed with weapons capable of reducing planets to lifeless husks. The sight filled him with pride at Vorthon superiority. Navigator Kailas Vorth approached with the confident stride typical of his caste. The younger officer's ceremonial scars marked him as a veteran of 12 previous conquests, though none had required more than minimal effort. His voice carried the excitement of anticipation as he delivered his report. "Commander, we will drop out of hyperspace in the outer system within the hour. Long-range sensors detect minimal defensive installations and only scattered ship traffic. The inhabitants appear to be engaged in what their communications describe as scientific exploration rather than military preparation." Zethus allowed himself a moment of amusement at such naivety. Scientific exploration was a luxury that weak species indulged in before encountering the reality of galactic politics. The universe was a harsh place where only the strong survived, and the Vorthans had embraced this truth completely. These humans, as the intelligence briefings called them, would learn this lesson before the day ended. The quantum alarm sounded as the Vorthon fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. Zethus watched with professional interest as his ships formed into attack formation, their dark hulls bristling with weapon systems. The formation was designed to inspire terror in primitive species while demonstrating overwhelming superiority. What they found surprised him. A single human vessel hung motionless near the system's asteroid belt, apparently conducting mining operations on a small planetoid. The ship was smaller than even their lightest escort vessels, with a design philosophy that seemed to prioritize function over intimidation. Its hull gleamed with a white and blue color scheme that struck the Vorthons as oddly optimistic. Captain Sarah Chen stood calmly on the bridge of the exploration vessel Pioneer's Dream, watching as her sensors detected the massive alien fleet emerging from hyperspace. Her crew of 37 scientists, engineers, and explorers had been conducting routine mineral surveys when the quantum disturbance alarms began. And screaming, now they faced a situation that no Earth training manual had prepared them for. Dr. Marcus Webb hunched over his analysis station, his weathered face reflecting the glow of sensor data streaming across his screens. The elderly scientist had spent most of his career studying theoretical alien contact scenarios, but the reality was far more overwhelming than any simulation. His hands moved quickly across the controls as he tried to gather as much information as possible about their uninvited visitors. "Captain, I'm reading 245 distinct vessels in that formation. Energy signatures suggest weapon systems far beyond our current technology level. Their ship designs appear optimized for warfare rather than exploration or trade." Engineer Rosa Martinez looked up from her station where she monitored the ship's systems. The compact woman had pushed their engines beyond rated specifications during the journey to Kepler 442, and she was already calculating what modifications might be possible if they needed to run. Her voice remained steady despite the obvious danger they faced. "Captain, our quantum drive is still warming up from the mining operation. I can have us ready for emergency jump in about 12 minutes, but those ships could reach us in 6 if they accelerate at maximum burn." Sarah felt the weight of command settle on her shoulders as she considered their options. The Pioneer's Dream carried no military weapons beyond point defense systems designed to handle asteroid debris. They were scientists and explorers, not soldiers, but that might not matter to whoever commanded that alien fleet. The communication system crackled to life with an incoming transmission. The voice that emerged was harsh and guttural, speaking in accented English that suggested advanced translation technology. The tone carried arrogance and absolute certainty of superiority. "Primitive vessel, this is Commander Zethus Kral of the Vorthan Collective. Why? You are trespassing in territory claimed by our empire. Surrender immediately and prepare to be boarded, or your ship will be destroyed. You have one of your time units to comply." Sarah exchanged glances with her senior officers before activating the reply channel. Her voice remained calm and professional, drawing on years of diplomatic training that all Earth exploration captains received. The situation was clearly hostile, but perhaps communication might provide alternatives to immediate conflict. "Commander Kral, this is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Pioneer's Dream. We are conducting peaceful scientific research in what our star charts show as unclaimed space. We have no hostile intentions toward your people. Perhaps we can discuss this situation and reach a mutually acceptable arrangement." Zethus laughed at such naive optimism. The idea that primitives might negotiate with the Vorthan Collective as equals was absurd beyond consideration. These humans clearly did not understand the reality of their situation or the futility of resistance against superior force. He would demonstrate both concepts before accepting their inevitable surrender. "Captain Chen, your species lacks the strength to make demands or proposals. We take what we require from weaker civilizations. Your choice is simple: surrender and serve, or die and be forgotten. We have conquered 67 worlds, and your pathetic single ship changes nothing." Dr. Webb worked frantically at his station, analyzing the alien communication for any useful information. His background in xenolinguistics allowed him to parse subtle meanings from word choices and speech patterns. What he discovered was deeply disturbing, but also potentially useful if they survived long enough to report it. "Captain, based on their communication patterns and energy signatures, these Vorthans appear to be an expansionist literary culture. Their commander seems genuinely surprised that we didn't immediately surrender. I think they're used to encountering species that can't defend themselves." Sarah made a decision that would echo across the galaxy. Instead of accepting the apparent futility of their situation, she chose to represent humanity with dignity and strength. Her response was broadcast on all frequencies, ensuring that any other ships or monitoring stations in the system would hear Earth's first official statement to hostile alien forces. "Commander Kral, humanity does not surrender to bullies, regardless of their technology or numbers. If you want our ship, you'll have to take it. I'm sending a message to Earth informing them of your threat. You might want to consider what that means for your collective." The transmission ended, leaving stunned silence on the Vorthan command deck. Navigator Kylus stared at his commander with confusion, unable to process what they had just heard. In his experience, primitive species either surrendered immediately or begged for mercy. This human captain had done neither, instead issuing what sounded almost like a warning. Zethus felt his bioluminescent patches shift to orange, indicating anger mixed with disbelief. These humans clearly required a demonstration of Vorthan power before they would accept reality. He had intended to capture their ship intact for study, but their defiance had changed his priorities. "Weapon systems, lock onto the human vessel. We will cripple their engines and board them. Perhaps watching their ship die slowly will teach them respect for their betters." The Pioneers' dream shuddered as Vorthan weapons struck their shields. Rosa's engineering console erupted in warning lights as she struggled to maintain power distribution under the assault. The exploration vessel had never been designed for combat, but human engineering had built more resilience into their systems than the attackers expected. "Shields holding at 60%, Martinez called out over the noise of straining equipment. But we can't take many more hits like that. Whatever they're using packs a lot more punch than our simulators predicted." Sarah watched their tactical display as more Vorthon ships moved to surround them. The situation appeared hopeless by any rational analysis, but something deep in her human nature refused to accept defeat. Her crew looked to her for leadership, and she would not let them down. "All hands, prepare for evasive maneuvers. Dr. Webb, have you finished that transmission to Earth?" The scientist nodded grimly as he completed the data package that would inform Earth Command of humanity's first hostile alien encounter. The message contained everything they had learned about Vorthan capabilities, tactics, and apparent weaknesses. If Earth was to face this threat, they would need every scrap of information. "Quantum burst transmission sent, Captain. Earth will receive our data in approximately 18 hours. What happened next surprised everyone, including the Vorthons. Instead of continuing to absorb punishment while trying to escape, the Pioneers' dream suddenly accelerated directly toward the alien formation. Sarah had recognized that their only chance lay in the unexpected, in doing something that violated all conventional military logic. The human ship wove between Vorthon vessels with a grace that caught the aliens completely off guard. Rosa's modifications to their drive systems allowed maneuvers that should have been impossible for a ship of their design. They struck at weak points in the alien formation, using their mining equipment as improvised weapons with devastating effect. Commander Zethis watched in growing amazement as the tiny human vessel destroyed 3 of his escort ships and damaged 2 others before his formation could adapt to their unconventional tactics. The humans fought like no species he had ever encountered, turning their apparent weakness into an advantage through sheer audacity and creativity. Earth's thunder. 18 hours after the quantum burst transmission from the Pioneer's dream reached Earth, the planet transformed into a hive of unprecedented activity. Admiral Jackson Reynolds stood in the Central Command Center beneath the Rockies, watching as displays showed military mobilization on a scale never before attempted in human history. The walls around him hummed with the energy of thousands of personnel coordinating humanity's response to their first alien threat. Reynolds was a veteran of the Luna War and the Mars colonial conflicts, but nothing in his experience had prepared him for this moment. At 62, his weathered face showed the weight of command decisions that had shaped human expansion into the solar system. Now he faced a challenge that would determine whether humanity remained free or joined the ranks of subjugated species across the galaxy. General Patricia Stone approached with the measured stride that had made her famous during the asteroid belt campaigns. Her tactical mind had earned respect throughout the Solar Defense Force, and her ability to coordinate complex operations would be crucial in the coming conflict. She carried a data pad containing information that would reshape their understanding of the threat they faced. "Admiral, we've completed analysis of Captain Chen's transmission. The Vorthan Collective appears to be a multi-species empire that has conquered at least 67 worlds. Their military doctrine favors overwhelming force applied quickly to prevent organized resistance. They clearly don't expect serious opposition from newly contacted species." Reynolds studied the tactical projections showing estimated Vorthan capabilities compared to human military assets. The numbers were sobering, but they also revealed potential advantages that Earth might exploit. The aliens had grown accustomed to easy victories against unprepared opponents. They had never faced an entire species united in preparation for war. "How long until our mobilization is complete?" "The 1st through 10th battle fleets will be ready for deployment within 72 hours. Each fleet consists of 150 vessels, including our newest dreadnoughts and carrier groups. We're also activating the special operations squadrons and the experimental weapons systems that we've been developing for deep space exploration." The scale of humanity's response would have shocked the Vorthons if they had been aware of it. Earth's entire military infrastructure had shifted into wartime production, with shipyards working around the clock to outfit vessels for extended combat operations. Every human colony had contributed ships and personnel to the effort, creating a unified response that transcended political boundaries. Captain Tommy Nakamura finished his pre-flight inspection of the prototype fighter Stormbird, running his hands along the sleek hull that incorporated humanity's most advanced technology. The young pilot had been selected to lead the elite Raptor Squadron, a unit equipped with ships that pushed the boundaries of human engineering. His calm demeanor hid excitement at the opportunity to test their capabilities against alien forces. Dr. Elizabeth Kane watched from the observation deck as the massive fleet prepared for departure. The xenobiologist had been assigned to the command staff to help analyze alien psychology and tactics. Her research into aggressive species behavior would prove invaluable in predicting Vorthon responses to human actions. Admiral, based on the communication patterns from their commander, I believe the Vorthons expect humans to behave like their previous conquest targets. They're probably planning a demonstration of force designed to break our will to resist. They won't be prepared for sustained, coordinated resistance from multiple directions. The quantum alarms sounded throughout the command center as sensors detected multiple hyperspace signatures approaching the edge of the solar system. The Vorthons had arrived sooner than expected, bringing what appeared to be a much larger force than the original scouting fleet. Reynolds felt a familiar calm settle over him as he prepared to defend humanity's home. Commander Zethus Krall stood on the bridge of his flagship, now part of a massive Vorthon armada that had been hastily assembled to deal with the human problem. Admiral Thane Vex had been disturbed enough by reports of human resistance to authorize a force of 800 vessels, 10 times larger than the usual conquest fleet. The Supreme Commander wanted this rebellion crushed decisively. Admiral Vex himself had taken personal command of the operation, his ancient bioluminescent patches glowing with the deep purple of absolute authority. In his 2 centuries of military service, he had overseen the subjugation of dozens of worlds. The idea that primitives might require such overwhelming force was personally insulting, but he would ensure that no trace of human defiance survived. Commander Krall, your report indicated that these humans possessed unusual tactical capabilities. Explain how a single unarmed vessel managed to inflict casualties on your force. Zethus felt his patches shift to the orange of embarrassment as he recalled the encounter. The memory of human unpredictability still troubled his tactical calculations. Their captain had behaved in ways that violated every principle of logical military doctrine, yet her actions had proven devastatingly effective. Supreme Admiral, the humans did not fight as we expected. Instead of attempting to flee or seeking terms for surrender, they attacked directly into our formation. Their ship performed maneuvers that our computers had calculated as impossible. For their design specifications, they used mining equipment as weapons with remarkable effectiveness. Vex studied the tactical recordings from the encounter, his experienced eye noting details that others might miss. The human captain had indeed shown unusual courage, but more importantly, she had demonstrated creativity that suggested dangerous potential. Such a species could not be allowed to develop further military capabilities. These humans will learn that courage without strength is meaningless. We will destroy their home world as an example to any other species that might consider resistance. Begin the attack. The Vorthon fleet advanced toward Earth in a formation designed to inspire terror through its overwhelming size. 800 warships moved in perfect coordination, their weapons charging for the bombardment that would reduce humanity's cradle to lifeless rock. Admiral Vex expected the humans to surrender once they witnessed the futility of resistance. What emerged from behind Earth's moon defied every assumption about primitive species and their military capabilities. Admiral Reynolds had positioned his forces with careful consideration of both tactical advantage and psychological impact. The 10 battle fleets emerged simultaneously from multiple directions, their formation designed to demonstrate humanity's unity and determination. 1,500 human warships took position around their home world, each vessel ready to fight to the last breath. The sight that greeted the Vorthons challenged everything they thought they knew about recently contacted species. These humans had not only refused to surrender, but had somehow assembled a fleet nearly twice the size of the collective's invasion force. The implications were staggering for a species that had never encountered serious resistance. Admiral Vex stared at the tactical display showing human fleet positions with something approaching disbelief. In his centuries of conquest, no species had ever responded to first contact with such massive military preparation. The humans had somehow anticipated the collective's response and had prepared accordingly. Communications, open a channel to the human fleet. Perhaps they can be made to understand the futility of their situation. Reynolds stood calmly on the bridge of the Earth dreadnought Defiance as the alien transmission came through. The Vorthan admiral's voice carried arrogance mixed with confusion, as if he couldn't quite believe what his sensors were telling him. The human admiral's response would be heard throughout the galaxy. Human Commander, I am Admiral Thane Vex of the Vorthan Collective. Your species has attacked our forces and must face consequences. However, we are not unreasonable. Surrender now, and your world will be spared total destruction. You cannot hope to match our experience and technology. Admiral Vex, this is Admiral Jackson Reynolds of the Earth Defense Fleet. You attacked one of our exploration vessels conducting peaceful research. You threatened to enslave our people. You came to our home system with weapons charged and demands for surrender. There will be no negotiation. If you want Earth, you'll have to take it. The battle that followed would be remembered as the moment when humanity announced its presence to the galaxy as a major power. The Vorthans had expected easy victory against primitives armed with crude weapons and simple tactics. Instead, they found themselves fighting an enemy that matched their technology and exceeded their coordination. Captain Nakamura led his Raptor squadron through the alien formation with precision that amazed both sides. The prototype fighters moved like extensions of their pilot's will, striking at critical systems with surgical accuracy. Human tactics emphasized speed, creativity, and the unexpected, turning the aliens' own advantages against them. General Stone coordinated the overall battle plan from her command ship, her strategic mind processing information from hundreds of sources simultaneously. She had studied the Vorthan recordings from the first encounter and had developed countermeasures for their standard tactics. Every human ship knew exactly what to do when the aliens responded predictably to unexpected situations. The battle raged for 6 hours before the surviving Vorthan forces began their retreat. Of the 800 ships that had approached Earth with such confidence, fewer than 200 limped away into hyperspace. Admiral Vex himself barely escaped in his damaged flagship, his mind reeling from the impossibility of what had occurred. Dr. Kane watched the retreating aliens from the observation deck, already analyzing the psychological impact of humanity's victory. The Vorthons had learned that Earth was no easy conquest, but more importantly, other galactic civilizations had witnessed humanity's strength and determination. The balance of power in their region of space had fundamentally changed. Ambassador Vasquez was already fielding communications from dozens of alien species, some offering trade agreements, others proposing military alliances. Humanity had passed its first major test, earning respect through strength and unity. The galaxy was taking notice of Earth's children. Admiral Reynolds stood among the wreckage of the greatest space battle in human history, knowing that this was only the beginning. The Vorthans would return with larger fleets and better preparation. But they would find humanity ready, for Earth's people had learned the most important lesson of galactic politics. Strength and unity were the only guarantees of freedom.